Okay, here we are back inside MatrixGold once again. Thanks for tuning in. I hope the videos are helping you in your designing process. If they are, please tap that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, leave a like and a comment. Love to hear from you. Today we are going to do something a little different, but first, mastering MatrixGold, a smooth transition from Matrix, right? It's coming up very quickly, January 23rd, Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Time, USA. So check your times. You will need to register for the event. It's open. The first one, the 23rd, will be open to anybody. It'll be a monthly show on the transition from trying to speed you up on the transition from Matrix, older Matrix programs to the MatrixGold and all the new things they have in the MatrixGold program that you can do, and the differences, because there are quite a few. So hopefully we're going to shorten that learning curve for you, but please register. Like I said, anybody can register for the first event. The following monthly events will be held, I think, every second Tuesday of the month, and same time, I believe, 11 a.m., and those will be for members. So please check the links out below and register as soon as possible. All right, I'd love to see you there. We're going to go into something. This was on the Facebook group, and it's kind of interesting. What we're going to do is kind of dive into it, and there's going to be a lot of little small things that I think might be useful to you. So we'll go and take it a little slow and try to explain everything as best I can. First, we're just going to grab a circle, and then we'll go ahead and then tap on F4 there. I'm going to hold down Shift, take it either up or bottom so that my seam's one to the other. And we'll make this one around 10 millimeters or so, and then I'm going to right click again and draw out another one and make this one just a little bit bigger, something like this. I don't know the size of the pendant, but this will be something like this here. So we're going to, let's see, about 10 millimeters in the center. We could probably bump this up a little bit. So I'm going to go over here and hold down Shift and just kind of bump this up just a little bit, something like this. I'm going to take this one and I am just going to drop it down something like this, because we want it larger in the bottom than going up to the top there, right? So we'll do something like this. I'm going to go ahead and take these colors and change them to red, because we're going to try and use our creation layer for the most part to draw out everything. Now what I'm going to do is, we could do it a lot of different ways, but I'm just going to go ahead and right click on my line so I get both sides, right? And then go ahead and hit F4 again. I'm just going to draw that line out quite a bit past my circles. I'm going to take that line, and this way I can kind of see the distances. I can kind of follow along on the how much distance we have, and I'll go ahead and rotate this thing in the Z direction. So we're in my dynamic commands. I'll switch that to our Z direction there. And right now that piece would be majorly huge, and we want to kind of make that a little bit smaller. So we're going to go over here to object count, and we're just going to drag that up till I can kind of see something that I kind of like. So we would have almost 2 millimeters here and quite a few there, so maybe a little bit more, because we're going to put some diamonds on some of this. So we want it fairly about an 8 millimeter, right? So we'll need a little bit of distance for the sides, and then down here we're going to put 2 rows of 8 millimeter with 1 row here. So let's see, something 27, that should be maybe okay. That's quite a bit of distance there. It's this side I'm more worried about, I think, because we need that at least. Yeah, maybe that's probably good. And then we have, yeah, that should be okay. So we're just going to go ahead and take this, and we got a nice beautiful sun out there. So we're just going to take all this and we're going to get rid of most of it. First thing I'll do is just go in here and get rid of all that. And then we'll just go around and get rid of all this outside stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of ways we could have done this, but I could actually see the distances going through there a little bit easier, I think. So we'll go ahead and take this. Let's see here. We go ahead, enter we'll take that original curve and we'll go ahead and hide it just in case we need it at another time. And then I'll go ahead and take this one. I'll first grab that, ungroup it. Go ahead and grab this one, hold down shift, grab this one. We'll change them to a red, and we'll just go ahead, take all yellow and delete them. So that's kind of what I wanted. Now, in order to make sure we have enough room, we could always go up here to our dimensional tab and then go to linear and just turn off our grid snaps there. Make sure our end snaps on, just kind of check that. It's 1.3, that should be more than enough. And then we have one down here, 2.83. So that should be okay. So this is kind of what we're going for here. I'll go ahead and turn back on this. And we'll change that to red as well. All right. So we have this out here. This will kind of be our basic, kind of give us a little bit of, we'll design everything off of this here, I guess I should say. What's my thinking there? Okay. All right. So now we need to start working on this. So let's go ahead and do a blend from this curve here to this curve to get a little U. We'll just go ahead and switch those directions. And we want to maybe bump this out 1.1 and 1.1. You can do it as much as you want. We're going to manipulate that anyway later. We'll go again to this side, and we'll just drag this one out and drag this one out. And kind of bump them out a little, 0.9, so it's all even, right? So we have this, and actually we'll go ahead and switch. We don't need that. Okay, so we have this out here. We'll go ahead and select this one because we're going to do a little manipulation here. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these 2 points. No need to have them there. And this here, I think I'm going to go ahead and maybe drag it out a little bit more and kind of hold down shift and kind of bring it in so it kind of goes in a little more angle. And then this one here, turn on points. I'll go ahead and grab those two there, and we'll go ahead and delete those as well. And then I'll grab these two here and drag them out. So, and again, maybe a little bit in, out. Just kind of get a shape. We can always manipulate this later. I'll go ahead and take all that. And now I'll just take all of it and we'll just go ahead and join it together. Well, actually, let's undo that. Let's go ahead and get this so that it's all has tangency and everything, so everything will flow good. So we'll go to match. We'll go to this one, tangency. We won't join them yet. We'll go ahead and match this one. And then enter, and then we'll go ahead and do these down here. These should be pretty close. But it's all good to go now, and now we'll join everything together. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll grab a curve, and we'll go from that mid there to this mid here. And then we'll kind of go to our, what is it? Arc direction. And go to an arc direction. We'll snap from this end here to this end over here, and then kind of bring it up a little bit, something like that perhaps. So we have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's good. We'll go ahead and we'll turn on points here, and we can do all kind of manipulation here. Let's see. This is our bottom here. This is our top. So I want our top. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and take this curve and do a little rebuild. I want a little bit more points on it. So I'll do 5 points. That should be okay. And I'm going to take this one here and kind of move him around so I get a little bit more straighter edge there. I don't want it out past my item, but I do want it drop it down a little bit. This one here we'll take and we'll kind of like bump it out a little bit, and that one looks pretty good. We'll drag it back a little so we have a little bit, it's kind of offset, right? So something like that should be okay. And we'll go ahead and say that's good. And now what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and grab me a line, curve, and I'll just, we'll go to all perspectives, and I'll just snap right there in my mid, and then go down here and snap to my mid, and it's not lined up, right? No big deal. I'll go ahead, turn on points. It's only 2 points, so I'll go ahead and select this one here, and with both arrows turned white, I'll just kind of maybe drag it so that's as straight as possible there. And while it's still, while this curve is selected, we'll go ahead and rebuild that, and we'll add 5 points to that as well. So we can manipulate it a little more, and we'll hit OK. Now this top one, let's go ahead. We're kind of just gearing up our piece, getting our piece ready that we want to. Now we're going to put stones up here. We don't want this real sharp angle because our stones will be a little, you know, we want it to go down in. So we're going to make it fairly, we don't want it to go up past because then we'll have a V right there in the middle. But we want it down a little bit lower than this curve here, so that it has some shape to it. And then we're going to drag this one out quite a bit here, and we'll drag this one out as well, and we want a little maybe a bow out to it or something. Now we can go in here as well and manipulate these curve here. Maybe we don't want it so straight, so let's turn on points here. We could always manipulate this down here as well, so we could take those two, that one, and then this over here, and this kind of maybe give it a little bit more U-y shape so that it kind of goes out. And you can adjust that and play around with it however you want, of course. Something like that perhaps, maybe. And we'll go back to our front view. We want this to kind of go straight down for the most part. And this can kind of go up a little bit. Yeah, something like that. So we got a nice curve going through there. And I'll just go ahead and take that, and we'll do another rebuild on it. You can see it just makes it a little bit nicer curve. So we'll just go ahead and take that. Okay, and we should still be attached because we move. Oh, we're not. So make sure we didn't lose that attachment there. And we should be able to just go to our gumball. All the arrows are white, and then put it to that near, and then it snaps right to that point there. Okay, so we'll turn off that and check our down. Yeah, okay, it should be okay. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead, take this, and we'll just mirror it over to our other side, and then hit enter. Okay, and then this curve here we want to split with this curve here and hit enter. So we have two sides here now, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 out there, right? And what can we do with this one? We can do a curve network, right? So we'll do a sweep, we'll do curve network. We'll go in here, we'll select this one side, we'll select our middle one at the top, and then we'll select the one over another side, and then we'll just select this one. Well, before I do that, I need to join those together. These two need to be joined together, and we'll go ahead and join those. All right. That might give me a little. Okay, now here's something that you want to always kind of keep an eye on. Little FYI, I guess. Right now I have my history on, but if my history's off, right, and I go and I do this curve network, 1, 2, 3, 4, and hit enter, and I'll change that to loose, so it kind of just goes nice and flows in there for us, right? So that's kind of what I get. And if I hit OK, you know, I get something like this, which is open, of course, right? That's kind of exactly what I want. But say it wasn't. Say there was something that, like maybe this I didn't really like too much. I wanted to manipulate this curve some more. So if I go to turn on points, and I take these two top points here, and I want to manipulate them down a little, it won't update, right? So with that off, right? So let's go ahead and back out of this real quick. And now if I make sure it's turned on and I do the curve network, one, well, let's see, click on it, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hit enter with it turned on, and then hit the loose. I just like that look better. It gives me fewer curves there, ISO curves. So now if I take that, turn it to green and say, you know, I don't like this curve here, so I can select that, turn on points, go back in here, select this one here, hold down shift, select this one, and now when I drop that down, it will update with me. So be cautious, make sure your record history is on sometimes. Now sometimes you don't want record history, right? You know, like say you're trying to draw, you got a line out and you want to take this and you're going to hold down alt and move it over, right? Well, you got to hold down Alt and not click on your Windows. Hold down Alt, move it over, right? And then since history's on, if I take this one and move it, that one follows along with me, right? You know, you can take this one and move it, it'll break history. But with that one, it's going to be, you know, tied to it. But if I take it with record history off and I take it and I hold down Alt and move it over, I can go ahead and move this one and it will not update. So, you know, there's all kinds of reasons why you want this on and why you don't want it on. All right. So play around with it, check it out, see what works in what area for you. All right. Now with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and select all this, and I'm going to do a full save. So it saves everything that we have hidden down here, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and select all my red and all my yellow, and I'm going to delete everything, and that'll break history. So I have this item out here, right? I'm going to take that item, and I'm going to go up here to my surface and do a parametric cap on it, and then hit enter. And then select that original surface and just delete it for right now. So I have this. Now before I do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and do just, since we have a closed surface, right? A closed poly surface, we can go in here and do a little cleanup work on this before we move forward. And I'll just do a blend edge, and I'll come down here, chain edges, just make sure it grabs them all. And I have it set at 1. That's too much. Let's turn on preview, and I'll go ahead and hit enter here, and it'll give us a preview which blows it all up. But I'll go ahead and hit set all, right? And then I'll just do a 0.2 and then hit enter. So it just gives me a little roundness down there at the bottom, right? And we'll just go ahead and say that's kind of what I want, and then we'll hit enter. All right. And we want to do that if you want to flow stones on this, you want to do that blend before you flow the stones, because it could mess up all the work you did on the stones. Okay, so this is the only thing that I have out here. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to go to my transform, and I am going to just center it up here real quick. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and just select it. You don't have to select it, I don't believe. And I'm just going to hit save as. I'm going to go down here to where I have my MatrixGold. Click on my MatrixGold, go to my library, go to object, and go to object on curve. And I'm going to put on here, let's see, ribbed style. Okay, and then just go ahead and hit enter. And now I'll just go ahead and delete that, and we'll just grab a new window. Well, we don't have to. We can just, oh well. We can just, when you do import a new full save, they'll just go ahead and ask you if you want to get rid of everything. So we'll just get this loaded back up, and it should give us all our hidden objects as well. Back again, because it is a full save, and there's all our gray right there, right? So now I have this. I'm just going to go ahead and select all this, and we'll turn that to gray. All right, and we're back to this. All right, now what I'm going to do is go ahead and scroll down here. I mean, you could do it in your command line too, of course. I'm just going to go here to from two views, click on the drop down, and right here, tween curves, and I'm going to select this curve, and that'll give me a line in the center of those two curves, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that, and I'm going to go to my solid and go to object on curve, and then after my objects are shown up there, I have this one at 0, right? I'm going to select this, and I'm going to hold down shift and drag it up there to my mid, because we only really need to do half. And then I'll go to my object there, and then scroll in here till I can find my ribbed thing, RS. Right, ribbed style. Okay, and I'll just double click on that, and it'll change it to those, and then I will go to my origin and point them down, and I must have had a line hidden that I didn't see, so no big deal though. We'll just go ahead and leave that there for right now. And let's go ahead. We have these locked in place, right? So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and taper end, right? So one end is, we can taper both sides to make them, thinner, go more toward our red, right? And that one looks like it's pretty good right on. So I'll just go over here to this one and not roll, size, and we'll bump that up to where it's pretty close to my red line there, and that's kind of where I want to keep it, pretty close. Now if I go in here and I do spacing, I want to get those fairly close, but it's they kind of really start bunching up here, right, a little bit. So I can go over here to where's it at now, spacing method, taper spacing, and then if we watch, we can see they kind of move out a little bit now, right? Now when we do that spacing, it'll taper the spacing so that we are able to get fewer up here versus that non-taper. So if I turn that back off, or taper spacing, if you look, you can see the big difference it'll give you. They're all bunched up in there, right? But if I turn it on, turn it back on, it'll give us a nice spacing there, right? And you can play around with this however close you want to get them. We want them fairly close, but not totally touching. So that's I mean, not totally bunched up, right? So I think that's probably okay. So I'll go ahead and hit enter. Now I'll go ahead and take this, since those lines are out there, unfortunately, and I'll go ahead and ungroup them, and we'll just go ahead and get rid of those lines. I must have had something hidden that I didn't know about, and it saved it in my file. If you have anything even hidden over here, it'll go ahead and throw them up there. It'll save them when you go back to grab something. Okay, so we have this. We want this one, and yeah, that's the only one we really need, I think. Well, this one here, and this one, I think. We'll take these three and we'll change them to this color here, and we'll just go ahead, take all green there, and we'll just group that together, because I don't think we really need any of that. Well, this one here, I'm gonna hold down, well, I'm gonna click on that, hold down shift and control and deselect it, and then go ahead and group those together. Hopefully this is, yeah, okay. I'll ungroup them. Now I'll hold down shift control, select that one. Okay. Yeah, there we go. It's grouped, so we can go ahead and go ahead and take care of this part. Just mirror them over to our other side and hit enter, and we'll just wait for those. Okay, so we have a nice little pendant coming together here. And if we look, I'll go ahead and undo that mirror since I forgot to do this part. if we look on our side here, our small, it took it through the mid of all those. When you're laying it on a surface, that's fine probably. But when you're laying it like we are trying to make something like this, you can see that it's not really working for us. So I'm going to go ahead and ungroup those again real quick. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go to a line right here. And it says objects to align, and I'll just go ahead and select my green and that color there, and then hit enter. And then I'm going to align to let's see, the bottom's probably best, and there's another one of those lines out there. So I'll go up here. I'll just click right there. All right, and then I'll just take it and then drop it. Well, I don't want to take everything, rather. Let's deselect our line down here. I'll go ahead and grab this and these and drag them back to our line, and we'll just go ahead and get rid of this and go ahead and get rid of this. All right, so now they're all flat there, right? And we have a little bit more shape going on with it. And now if you wanted it to be all the same height, it's very easy. You could just manually go in there and manipulate each one, do an offset, a scale one way. So if we take our scale, right, 1D, you can go in there and hold down shift and then just kind of bump it up to where you want, and then go to the next one. Kind of snap it down in there, hold down shift and kind of bump it up, and then you could get them to however size you want. We'll just go ahead because I don't think you want to sit there and watch that. So, but you can do that. It's pretty easy, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and hide all my green, and let's see, we don't really want to hang on to these right now, so I'll take these two and we'll just go ahead and hide those. We want to deal with this one, so I'm going to turn it on this color here, and we'll go to not plastic so we can start seeing our lines and everything. And I'll take this curve here because we don't need it anymore. And we have this, or we don't need it right now, I should say. We have this out here. So let's go ahead and extract an ISO curve. Extract ISO curve from this surface. And just drag it right there in the middle, hit enter, and we'll go ahead and go to gems and gem on curve, right? Select our curve, hit enter, and we definitely want to pick our surface, right? And then kind of flow those gems to where we want it. We'll put one like right in the center here, pretty close to the center, something like that. And we want to taper those. So taper end, yes. And we'll take this one down as small as we can go. And yeah, that's 0.8. Something like that perhaps. And we'll tighten up that spacing so we have nice 4 right there. And that looks okay. Yeah. And we can go ahead and drop them down from girdle to our table, something like that. And we'll just go ahead and hit enter. All right. So we'll go back to our top here, right? And now we want to put 2 rows of smaller stones coming through here, right? So I'm going to turn to my wireframe here. And it looks like those are a little overlapping. Is that just because of the view there, or because yeah, it looks like they're a little overlapping. So let's go ahead and fix that here real quick. Let's edit our gem. Nice thing about MatrixGold, right? So we'll drag this back just a little, give a little bit more spacing. I want to keep that those 4 stones. I think the 4 would be nice, so I'm going to keep those. Yeah. Okay. And we have a little spacing in between there, so that's good. All right, so we'll go ahead and hit enter. Now I'm going to go ahead and just throw my prongs on there, just get it out of the way. And we'll go ahead and put prongs on. And we want to bump these up. And actually this one down here, I'm not really sure we need 2 prongs down here. So I'm going, because it's only a point, it's a 0.8, I think. So I'm going to go to my end, and right in here, I'm going to drop that down. And I want 2 on one and 1 on the other. So now we only have 1 there, right? And we have 2 over on this side. And I'm going to 1 1 1 1. Oh, 1 1, sorry. 2 1. All right, I'll need the other side. So just find the correct one. 2 on this side, 1 on that side. 2 1 here. There we go. All right, so I have that. I'm going to go ahead and bump this up a little. We don't need that sticking way down there. Something like that. Go ahead, give it some shading so we can kind of see what's going on. And actually, we can even go ahead and turn off this for right now so we can kind of check it out. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so we'll go ahead and turn this back on, and we'll hit enter here. Enter. All right, so we have this. Now it'll be easier to lay out those other 2 rows of stones coming down, right? So I'll turn to my wireframe, and we have these stones coming through here, and we want to lay a row here and a row here. So I'm just going to go to my line curve, and I'm going to grab that line, and I'm just going to we'll turn off snaps for a second. And I have my record history on, right? And I'll go in here, and it won't really matter because we're going to use a dynamic command. I don't know. Do I want them straight or at a little angle? We'll just go ahead and go straight here for right now. We can always manipulate it, right? And then I'm going to go to curves again and do a project right here. This curve, enter to this surface, enter, and it's going to go to the top, so hit enter. And there's my curve, so I'm going to select that curve and go to my gems on curve and select curve. That will be this one at the top, and then hit enter. Excuse me. And then again, we want to make sure that we activate that as our surface there, right? And it took them all the way, because that curve goes all the way around, right? So we'll just have to drag them up and over, right, to where we want them. No big deal. And we definitely don't want them that big, and we want them all the same size. So we're just going to make that like this, and we'll say we'll have this one come down to around here, maybe. Yeah. And we'll tighten up that spacing so we have 3 there, right? All right, so we can go ahead and give it some shading here. Now I'm going to take these 3 stones, go to transform, go to mirror, so it's on the other side, and I'm just going to hit enter, right? And those are way overlapping, right? So I can select that curve, and I can just drag it over, the one on the bottom, right? Not the one we flowed the stones on, but the one that we use to project the curve down here at the bottom, right? And now, see, I can manipulate those stones a little easier if I want to move them around, right? And we'll move it over. I had it pretty good there, actually. Something like that, maybe. We probably have to drag, when we drop them down, they might overlap a little. So let's go ahead and bump this over just a little. Something like that. And we want them to come up into our prong there. So we'll just go ahead and hit enter on that. And then we'll take this. We'll go back and we can manipulate this. Let's go ahead and drop it down so we can kind of keep an eye on it. And we'll turn on wireframe here. So look at it, and we want to take that so it kind of goes right up into our excuse me, turn off this layer, and we'll just give it some shading, not that deep into that prong, just a little bit, so we can use that prong to kind of set these stones here, right? All right, That spacing, it could probably be moved over a little. Well, let's go ahead and just take that, and we'll go ahead and put the prongs on here so we can kind of see what's going on. And let's go ahead and height offset, let's bump this up. Let's give it some nudge. And before we start messing around with it all, we want to get rid of these two and probably just put one prong down here, right? So we'll go back over here again, and we'll go to, well, before we do that, we need to go to our ends, and now do that drop down, and 0 and 1. That one didn't give us the one prong though, did it? Or is it up on that side? Yeah, it's up on that side. So we'll have to go to the other one. One prong and two. One prong and two. Or one prong and none, sorry. One prong and none. Let's see, where's it at? One prong. Other side. One prong, none. There we go. All right, now we just bump this one up. And let's go ahead and bring this up just a little. Maybe a little bit more. We don't want it sticking through our bottom there. All right. And we'll go ahead and hit enter, and we'll take these prongs and we'll go ahead and transform, mirror them over to the other side, and we'll hit enter. Okay, now we can still go back and manipulate this curve just a little, and everything updates so we can kind of move them around exactly where we want them, and that's not too bad. Let's turn that surface back on so it's something like that, right? And hit enter. Enter. Okay, this is maybe a little bit too far down, so we can do two things. We can either adjust our stones or adjust that. So let's check out the stones first. Let's go to Gems on Curve. I'm not sure how much spacing we've got to be able to play with before we start losing stones, but that's much better. And let's go ahead and hide the surface. Yeah. All right, that's looking good. All right, we'll hit enter and enter. Well, right click in that command, and so far so good. But you can sit there and keep on playing around with that curve there, right? To get it to wherever you want. Now we're going to go ahead and select all that and hide it, all yellow, and just go ahead and change it to another layer here real quick. Because hopefully we won't need that anymore. All right, now here's the thing. We want a cutout on here. We got 2 rows here, and we have 1 row here, and we need to put a cutout where it goes and looks fairly decent, right? And that's probably this will probably be the most challenging part. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and I'm going to grab me an art direction. Third one down, and down here at the bottom I'm just going to just draw it out somewhere down here and then kind of bring it up, something like that, and then click. So it's right through the center of our item there, right? And I'll go ahead and change it to this. And we'll go ahead and add points to it. All right, so we can kind of see where our girdles are at. Right, so that's good. Here's our girdle down here. This one kind of, we can see the angle of it. So I'm going to go ahead and take this curve because we're going to probably need more points on it, and we'll just do a rebuild. And now hit enter, and probably we'll need a little bit more than 5 on this one. 7, we'll do 7, and we'll hit OK. Now this one I'm going to bring in a little, and we'll leave that there for right now. We'll take this one here and kind of bring it up something like that maybe. This one looks pretty close, something like that. And that looks pretty good. So we're going to drag this one over into here. Okay. I'm going to leave my points on, and I'm going to go back to my top view here. And we have that line going right through the center there, right? So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do another project. This line here, I'm going to go to my right side. This line here, and then hit enter to this surface here, and enter, and then I'm going to change it to active viewport, and then hit enter again. So now I have that line going down the side there, and as you can tell, it's way too much inside there, right? This comes up way too much here, cutting through my prongs. This one's pretty close though, and that one looks pretty decent. And if I look at my ends, that's not really very good, right? But we can go in here and manipulate this curve still. So we'll just drag this back a little. Maybe we should drag it out a little. And you can see that curve is moving up our line there, right? So we can kind of do something like that with it. But you can play around with it wherever you think you know that cut, it will be good for you. So we'll do something like that. Yeah, I'd like it a little bit bowed out better there. We could turn on points and project it down, but and then this side over here, we'll do the same thing, kind of bump it out a little, and you can see that the line's starting to move up on our surface. So we can get it to where we just want that cut. Something like that maybe. And if we go in here, it's good to have be able to see as you're moving the points. So maybe a ghosted mode would be okay. So you can grab it and then go back to your shaded mode and kind of see where it's going to. That one's actually okay. I don't mind these here. It could probably go up just a little. Yeah, that one's okay, I think. These down here, though, really need some work. So let's go to our shaded mode here. Let's grab this one, and we'll go back and kind of move it maybe down a little. And you can see it's moving that curve, right? And you can always go back and move this one if it moves a little bit too much. And you can see it's altering the shape there. Let's go ahead and get this one down a little bit more so it goes to the outside of our prong just a little bit more. There we go. And this one needs to go down a little so that it's on the outside of our prong there, right? And then it also opens this up so we can take this one and move it out a little bit more so we can bump up. So you can play around and adjust. I'm not going to sit there and I would spend a lot of time getting the curve exactly where I wanted it though. So we'll just say something like this is pretty decent for us. And we'll go ahead and hit enter, right? Yeah. You know, you could, like I said, you could really take your time and go through there and adjust those points to be able to get that curve to go exactly where you want it, right? So we'll just say, you know, this one's good, and we'll go ahead and move on. All right. So the next thing we want to do is take this. Right now, I think we're solid. Okay, so we got a solid closed poly surface. So we'll take this, we'll split it with that curve we just put up there, and then hit enter, right? So now we have this surface here, and we could go into a surface offset, right? And then we'll flip those so they're pointing down inside. We want it to project down inside. And then let's see, 0.03 or 0.3. 0.3 is probably, that's probably a little much. Let's do point, 1.5 for this and take a look at it. And we'll hit enter, and then we'll just go ahead and hit enter again. And then we'll just take this and we will nuke it, and we'll take this top surface and just kind of change it to a different layer for right now and turn it off. And now we have a nice little cutout going through there like that, right? Yeah. All right. And like I said, you can adjust these curves to get them, you know, better for you or whatever. Whatever you think is best. Now that you did the, I don't think they'll update at this point. If I was to take it and move it, yeah, it does. The curve does, but the offset doesn't, right? So be aware of that. I'm just going to go ahead and turn off those points now, select all that, and then turn that to gray. And then I'll go ahead and bring back all our other items here. And let's see. What do we got here now? All right. I don't think that we probably have to do these individually to get them to, whoop, turn that off. Flow up there. Did I get rid of those? I thought I changed them to another color. Maybe I deleted them for some reason. Huh. Okay, well, I did something there. I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, go ahead, take all my green, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I'm going to bring back my gray there, except I don't want this. So I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and turn my gemstones off and my prongs. And okay. I'll go ahead and take this curve and change it to yellow. And then take this and go ahead and just hide it. That's my cutout. That's that. That's that surface. So I'll take that surface and turn it to gray. And put my prongs back out there. All right, so we have this, right? Now, you know, since we did a little opening right there and right here, we have a little bit more opening. So maybe we want to clean up that a little bit. So what we can do is go in settings and do a prong on surface, and then we can just kind of select where we want it, add that prong. Let's go ahead back out of that. Let's go ahead and take all our surface here, and let's just go ahead and join it together so it's all a close poly surface again. Now I'll go to that prong and just put one on there, and it'll lay it up there. This one we don't need so big rather. So I'll take it down to maybe 4, 5, and then we'll move this up a little bit. And of course we don't need it so large, just to fill that gap, right? And then we can also do one right there and then hit enter. So we have those 2 extra prongs that kind of make it look a little fuller, right? Now we can go back, and since I must have gotten rid of our 2 other items for somehow, I don't remember when, but maybe I selected them. We can go back to the solids, put those puppies back at objects, right? Go ahead and drag that to our 05. And this one, of course, this time we don't want it right there. We want to kind of maybe bump them over a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and change that to our ribbed thing, I guess it is, ribbed style. And we'll go ahead and flip that direction down, and we'll kind of organize and then taper. And we'll go ahead, size, we'll go ahead and make those where we want them, right around there. Yeah, and just kind of drag that to where you want it, attaching to this one, how close you want it, and then get that spacing a little bit better. And again, these are going to the middle. We moved it to the top, so no big deal for right now, though. We'll just go ahead. Say that looks pretty good. We'll hit enter, and again, that was my bad for grabbing it. Let's go ahead and take all this, all this, all this, this, and I don't want to break history on those items, so I'm going to just change them to peach here and turn them off. Now I have these all selected. Now we'll just run that align, and we'll go in here to our right side, and we'll align items to align will be all our green there. Hit enter, and from bottom, and this time we'll just put it right next to our, do I have my grids snaps off or snaps? Bing, right there, and we'll just snap it right. Yeah, right there. Now we have that. Oh, it didn't align them, did it? Let's do that again. Select items to align, all are green. Enter, align to bottom. They're not aligning now. Okay, well, let's do it this way then. Well, no, it'll line them all up to the curve. Let's see. Let's grab a line curve here, because this might work. Grid snaps. All right, do the line. Green. Oh, they're joined together. That's why. We need to ungroup them. Sorry, my bad. Ungroup them. Now we can go to we don't need this line. Transform. Where's my align? Right there. Align. Objects to align. Green. Enter. Bottom. And now they're all lined out there where they're supposed to be. So there we go. They're all flat crossed, right? And now all we have to do is they're ungrouped, so let's go ahead and take that one and we'll change that to this color, and then we'll just go ahead and select all green and we'll group them back together. We'll mirror them over to the side and hit enter. So there's our pendant for the most part. Now what we can do is we want to put a bail on it, right? Now there's a lot of things we could do here. Let's go ahead and grab all the curves and anything that we might have out there that we don't really need for the most part and hide them. I just put one in there, but if you wanted to put, 5 or whatever, that's just kind of showing you how to do it. And if we look at it, we have something like this going on, right? But you could do it to a couple more, and if you wanted to have these different color, if you wanted maybe these 5 here to be white gold and the rest to be yellow, you could do that. And then right down here at the bottom, if it was me, I would just do a little maybe curve right through here, I guess maybe I should explain. Let's go in here. Say I want this, well, let's ungroup these here real quick. Say I want this one, this one, this one. Let's ungroup those. I want this one, this one, this one, this one, and that one. Let's change that one too. To be white gold, right? Or yellow gold, and those to be white or whatever. So after you join them together, what I would do is just go ahead and actually, well, you probably want 2 of them. So what we can do is we can go to wireframe, we can go to circle, curve, grab a circle, F4, and then with snaps off, just kind of maybe grid snaps off as well. Right in here where they're kind of touching pretty good. Go ahead and click one, right click, go to F4 again and drag it right over here, right? And then click right. And then what we can do is I would probably go ahead and this is somewhat in there, right? It'd probably be best just to go ahead and split it. So we can go to line curve, F4, kind of maybe, let's see, we want it right in there, something like that, and then line curve F4 to come over to something like this, and then we can take, let's go ahead, hide this, take this and do a little trim action, get rid of that there, get rid of this. No, that's what we want to keep. We want to get rid of this here, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of this, get rid of this. We just want those two lines there, right? And then you can either put a profile on them, or you could just do a pipe, not a, yeah, pipe, and then maybe thicken that up a little bit. I mean, probably do a square, profile square on them, probably best. But if you bring those back, and you bring these back, right, now you can, those are probably a little too large. Make them a little bit smaller. What you're doing is just basically go ahead and hit enter, giving it a little something that you can attach Boolean join to this side and then Boolean difference to this side. And now you have a little cutout there where you can just solder those together very quickly onto there, right? So do it to both sides. Take those. I would do square. Square would probably be best. Transform, mirror. So you have both sides. So you can cast this as one piece, cast all this as one piece, and these are already pre-cut out for you. If they're square, then they just kind of snap right in together. Solder, 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 and then your piece is attached, right? If that makes sense. If you're a jeweler, I know it does. Let's go back to this here because we need to get a bail on it, right? So I really don't think there's you could get a settings, get a bail, you know. I don't think this would really work too well. I guess it might. Yeah, you could do this probably. We can bump this out a little bit, and then we can kind of change it so that it is bigger, something like this. You could draw it out too, just draw oval type thing, right? Let's say go back here, go back here. We want to open this section up right here. Something like that perhaps. And then let's change that profile to something more simple. Maybe something like this. And let's change let's change both these profile to something a little bit more simple. Something like this maybe. And we'll change this one here, something like that as well. So now we have a little more squared off shape, but that I don't like. So let's change that one back to the way it was. Yeah. Now we can play around with this, right? And if you make it thicker, thickness, where's our jump ring? We don't care about. Internal width, internal width. Make that a little thicker. Make this a little thicker. You can put some gemstones on it, right? And then maybe we want it something like that. And maybe a little bit long. Oh, not that thick. But we do want to make it maybe longer. There we go. All right, so you could do something like this, right? Real quick. Then we can go ahead and get rid of this and this and this and take this and kind of just put it down in, right? And do the same thing that we did for those. Let's turn on our gray. Let's take that gray and turn it down here. Oh, that's where I put them, right there. No, that's not where I put them. Where's our circle or line going? Is it gray? Is it? Oh, there's our gray right there. It's going through there. Trying to find that in-between curve, but I can't find it. So let's go ahead and hide these. There it is right there. Drag that up. It's okay, we don't need it anymore. Oh, yeah. And then this here, we want to go ahead and ungroup it because we don't need that O-ring, right? And then with this curve, what I'm going to do is go ahead and split at points, so right click. And then let's see here. We'll just split it here and hit enter, and then just select this little piece right here, and we'll do a solid pipe right there, and we'll definitely bump this one up a little bit. Not that big. We just want this piece here to go in there, right? So that it kind of goes around there, and then turn all that back on, and you have a pipe where this will move freely to go around, right? And then you can go ahead and hit enter. And last thing, maybe let's get why did I got that up there again? Gray, I don't want that either. Is if you want stones in there, just go ahead and do your extract ISO curve from here. Get it in the center, hit enter, grab that, go ahead and do the gems on curve, and drag those to where you want them. Something maybe we don't need them so big here at the bottom, so go ahead and do a taper. Taper spacing, or taper stones, I should say. And maybe a little bit smaller here. We don't need those so big. Something like that. Spacing. We'll go to make them kind of tight. We'll go to spacing minimum. We'll go to fixed. And now we'll just kind of bump that out a little. Like that. Yeah. And then hit enter. Well, before we do that, we want to drop it down to our girdle, right? Or our table rather. Hit enter. Hit enter. Then we can click on that group. And this one we can just do a cutter. And ooh, kind of, what is going on there? Oh, that one flipped over for some. Okay, you know why? Because I did not pick a surface for it. So now that's better. We'll go ahead and hit enter. Grab those stones. Cutter. Round. We'll go to sharp. Nah. We'll go to flat. Drag that out a little bit. Turn to our wireframe. Open it up. Kind of check our depth over here. We want to a mirror setting. No. We'll want to bump this one up and this one out. And we'll want to change that one to a flat and bump this one up. And I'm going to go ahead and change that cutter there, profile, to something like this here. There we go. And we'll dump that up. and then kind of get it to where we want it. And move this one up and bump that, something like that. And you can always add some more middle count in there if you think you need it. I don't think so. And open it up a little. This side looks okay. This side needs a little opening. And we'll check that the middle count again. You can play around with that, find out what works out best for you. I think a couple of them would probably be okay. Let's check it out, what it looks like. Yeah. And then from here, just real quick, do a solid Boolean difference. This one enter, and there you go. Got that. Go ahead and take that original surface, switch it to another layer, and go ahead and select your prongs, put your settings, prongs on, and then do your setup here. And we'll just, for sake of quickness, we'll just go ahead and say, and then there you go. You've got a nice little kind of ribbed pendant. It's all laid out flat, and then just Boolean all those together. And if you wanted those white gold, you can put those pieces in there, and you have a little bell there that goes around. So you can make that bell longer or whatever. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit. I mean, there was a lot there as far as cutting out this piece here and laying it all out. So hopefully the video will help you. And if it does, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Appreciate you watching and your time. Good designing.